Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
And welcome back to another episode of Flyover State of Film, guys. Episode 101.
Starting fresh.
Thought Brian was going to quit. But of course, I got my boys
Welcome
here.
to Flyover State of Film 101.
We have
101.
Be prepared to take notes.
engagement, and you guys, but you buckled and you agreed to my contract terms, so I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back for
There you
101.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to get an extra 10%.
And
I just got a Loot Crate subscription.
Oh, jeez.
It's really
And
cool.
it's not even new loot crates; it's somebody sends you their.
Somebody sending me their old
loot crate.
It's really cool.
Just
You get a
duct tape.
you get a Metallica pop and a Jason pop.
Yeah,
And,
my latest
Pro
Loot
sticker.
Crate, I got a Francis Coppola wine.
A,
And let
Mo-
me tell you, it
It's
tastes like
our
Gia
time.
Coppola.
a Modelo,
This is
beer
bad.
koozie, a
Gia
Tom
Coppola
Smith
stuff.
bobblehead. Honestly, it's a pretty good loot crate. It's called the shit on my desk.
And,
Oh, the handles on the thingamajig.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
you
the
can follow
handles
us here.
Display them.
obviously, if you're joining us, we missed Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Brian.
my
and
boys.
what-
These are my three
Happy Father's
sons.
Day,
Do you know
Daddy.
that? Do people know that you're my kids when they watch the show?
I like.
Have we revealed that yet? I'm the father of all three Flybois.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were pumping out kids since you've been like 12.
Yeah,
Right.
you colonized my mother.
Just drilling.
Just drill, baby, drill.
But also, as me and Brian would know, most of our last action heroes are fathers, right, Brian?
Yeah. Wait, no. No.
This episode is going to be heavy heroes. I think what we want to do is kind of give our top 5 each of our favorite action heroes like this from where growing up to now.
Before we get into that, did you guys check out the Clerks trailer at all?
So who?
Okay, we can talk about it.
The Clerks
trailer?
trailer?
Clerks 3.
Oh, yeah,
Minions?
that looked awful.
You know,
Oh, fuck you, Brian. You said the same thing about Bob, Jay, and Silent
no,
Bob.
I did not. That looked like shit.
Yes,
I
you
just-
did. You said, well, the trailer doesn't look that bad.
The Clerks movies hold up better than most of Kevin Smith's movies.
This should be a better Kevin Smith.
You are in an abusive relationship and you need to get out.
Here's my thing with it. The whole meta idea of him like revisiting it. Fine. It's just like if you're a fan of Kevin Smith, you've heard this story because he never shut up about the making of Clerks. Like I know exactly how he fucking like sold a Laserdisc collection and they had an insurance, shit and all this. He backs out everybody knows the whole thing already, and all he's doing is like tacking on his heart attack bullshit to it. Also, it's just like it's very I don't know. It's as self-aggrandizing as a Kevin Smith movie ever is, I guess.
I'll be honest,
He's gonna
TJ. I scrubbed through the trailer, but definitely his daughter's in it,
I didn't even
She'll
know.
show, of course.
and his wife. Who, yeah, we'll move on from that.
There's
I don't think I'm that real.
Yeah.
Thor, Marvel stuff.
Well, did you see that? Like, so TJ, you've been calling out all the time of Natalie Portman's been photoshopped like
Oh,
muscles.
gives a fuck.
And
Top
then
Action 5.
showed up on the red carpet and it was like,
No,
where
I
the
agree with you,
muscles
Steph. We should not talk about that. Let's do our 5 action heroes.
go? Okay,
Fucking
sorry.
Natalie Portman
It's
controversy.
2 and 2. I think we win. I think we're gonna have to steamroll right over that.
I was just there for the ride. Yeah. So like obviously the movie of this episode is gonna be Last Action Hero, childhood favorite of mine, and also stars. If not, I guess maybe we can all agree the top 1 or 2 action star of all time.
Let's spoil it.
Yeah, I would put.
I think that's kind of a given for most.
Like, do
of
we
these.
all have?
No,
Arnold?
I think there's a conversation to be had.
Okay, absolutely. For the fact
Okay.
4. But that's what we're gonna do right now. I guess you guys just want to get off your list 1-on-1, or do you want to go one by one? How do you want to handle
Let's
this?
just do one by one. I'm sure there's gonna be some overlap.
Okay. All right.
Rapid fire.
All right, I'll start with my first one, I guess. I guess for me, I consider him an action star, even if in some of the movies he's not doing so much action. This might be a weird one, but off the bat, like something that I was thinking about is Patrick Swayze.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, honorable mention.
He's on my honorable mentions, absolutely.
That's
I mean,
definitely
literally,
like number
Roadhouse alone gets you on the list.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Roadhouse, and Red Dawn and
next to
Backdraft,
Ken.
I guess.
Come
Yeah.
on.
And the fight
Point
scene
Break.
Harry Dance.
Point Break.
Good. Point Break. Shit.
Point
Yeah.
Break.
Just watch.
So good.
That'd be, I guess. And then who wants to go next for the 5th? Is Mark's gonna go Penguin.
I'll go. Tom
Number
Cruise.
5, right? We're doing 5.
Yeah,
We're doing
Tom
5.
Cruise.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is my
I
number
would
5.
Pick Tom Cruise.
Mission
Ah,
Impossible series, Last Samurai, Edge of Tomorrow, Minority Report. My dude is an action star. Point.
Risky
Period.
Business.
Risky Business, Cocktails.
I don't have
Joe.
to like it for that to be
Oblivion.
true.
I did like Oblivion as an underrated one, but it was a one and done. I don't ever want to revisit it because I don't like
Collateral count. Collateral's fucking.
it. I think it's just tense, but sure.
He has
That was
action
kinda like
sequences.
a thriller, you know.
Yeah. So number 5, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, I have one on my
Demolition
list.
Man, the Blade trilogies. I'm not an action movie, but Murder on 1600.
On a Train, Passenger 57, U.S.
yes.
Marshals.
Just honestly, he shows up and it's a good time, boy.
Kicks ass.
So,
Brian, number 5.
Brian,
I mean,
what
we
you
all
got?
know the people who are going to be on my list. It's just a matter of what the order is going to be. So number 5 is going to be Harrison Ford.
Honorable
you know,
mention.
Again, Indiana Jones, Han Solo, and even if you knock those off because they're like franchises or they're fantasy or they're, I mean, you still got the Jack Ryans, you still got the Fugitive,
Claire
you got him
Preston
doing like the flip side of the Bruce Willis coin where he's like more like a dad. You know, Bruce Willis was an everyman, but he still seemed like a tough guy.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was like your dad getting into some shit.
That was
That was
my
America's
fourth.
dad in Air Force One.
Damn right. Oh, Air Force One, classic.
TJ, number 4.
For me, I'm gonna have to do it, but I'm gonna agree. I didn't like him at 5, Joe, but 4 for me is Wesley Snipes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Blade alone, just the first one gets me.
Passenger 57 underrated as well.
Yeah. Or
So,
like Demolition Man probably is the next one, especially when he just.
That was the kicker for me, Demolition Man.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't it? You got you.
Yeah, he kicks a lot in that movie. Number 4 was Patrick Swayze. Actually, I said honorable mention, but I put it number 4. But Joe.
I did have Harrison Ford, but I'm gonna actually bump Harrison Ford for one of my honorable mentions.
Ooh.
Get a little female diversity in here. I put
Ooh.
Charlize Theron on my list.
Woke. That's a good.
I
one.
almost made it, but I really could only think of like a couple of action beats.
But that was
for her.
the thing, was the few action beats she was in, I've enjoyed them.
That's
Well,
why
she has-
Sigourney
she has
Weaver
Eon's-
didn't make my list either. She's an honorable mention, but like she's really just got the one action role. She's not like a big action star.
Which one
Yeah.
did
I
you
see what
say?
you're doing though.
I
You're trying
said-
to-
Yeah, it was just more of like I'm pulling her from honorable mentions, so I don't have Harrison Ford, so we eliminate
That's
some
all right. It's fine.
overlap.
Which one did you mention, Brian? The second one?
Oh, the second one I mentioned was Sigourney Weaver. She's in my honorable mentions.
no. I have
Because she just really has
Charlize.
the one franchise.
I have Charlize in my honorable, and Mila too. Fifth Element, Resident
Now
Evil.
that's an action star right there.
Mila Kunis.
But I don't like the movies she's in really, except for Fifth
Yeah, so
Element.
what? We just gave one to Tom Cruise. And I don't give a shit about the movies he's in.
Hey,
Hey, listen, we have to talk nice to Tom Cruise, or else you're gonna come for us.
Scientology.
No, fuck you, Scientology. Where's Shelley Miscavige, Tom Cruise?
Get him.
Where's Shelley? She's in my top 5. Brian.
Oh, are we to me again?
Yeah.
All right, this one, I don't know. This one might be a little low. You guys might have him a little bit higher. Sylvester Stallone.
I don't have.
Oh, yeah. He's
my
much
3 and 2.
Honorable mention.
I mean, just like obviously, you
Why
get
don't
your
you punch?
Rambo's, Demolition Man,
Punch.
Cobra,
Punch.
Tango and Cash,
Punch,
Specialists, Assassins. There's a lot of good ones.
Great. We don't have to talk about anyone further up on the list now. Brian just rattled it all off.
Well, pull one from your honorable mentions, tough guy.
Yeah, bring up another woman.
Yeah,
Fine. Name one more woman. I can't because they don't exist.
Angelina Jolie.
That was it.
No one liked Wanted. I'm sorry. That is the most underrated
Tom
fucking
Raider,
movie of that
Wanted,
year.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
yeah,
Just a few.
that's good.
She's an action star in her own right. I'll give you
Eternals.
that. Everyone's favorite movie. Eternals.
TJ.
3 for me is an easy one because these top 3 were tough, and 3 actually not easy. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan is.
We discussed not bringing in Tim, but I'm happy that we're talking about him.
Yeah, we all were going to put him on, but Yusef told us not to do any martial artists. So
No. I'm happy. Talk about it, TJ. Talk about it.
I mean,
Tell me.
there's also other things to him than just him being a martial artist.
Praise Jackie.
Rush Hour.
Yeah, his comedic timing.
Shanghai movies.
But it's and that I guess goes together with guys. But yeah, Jackie Chan 3.
Oh, 100%.
Jackie Chan's the best. Jackie Chan would have been number 1.
Y'all talk about the chat on this thing.
It was a good conversation, though, to peel back the curtain a little bit to anyone. Like, the difference between action stars and martial arts stars in our
we did discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just made my top 5 and
martial artists on here.
And 4 of them were martial artists. I was like, are people going to say this is a martial artist top 5?
They could do their own. That's and Yusef's right. I could do my own top 5. At
but
least
my
the
number
top
3
probably would have been martial arts guys.
We watch Sidekicks. We know.
Chuck Norris.
You know what? Next, you're going to choose the
my number
tuxedo
3
for us.
Yeah, my number 3 is Wesley Snipes. One big thing about action stars for me, and maybe that's why I'm not that too high on Sylvester. It's I actually have to buy into what they're doing. And Wesley, whatever he's fucking doing, I fucking believe that he's in it. He's running down that train in U.S. Marshals. He's kicking ass in Blade. He's kicking ass in Demolition Man. And he really is a good actor that on top of just being this physical presence that is just an action star. So that's why when I was evaluating.
That I would say First Blood, though.
Do you guys.
Oh, yeah, but that's one. Do you really buy him as a cliffhanger? I didn't.
I do.
It's fun. It's a fun movie. I love that movie.
I do. I think that's just their level of stardom when they at the point where you're talking about the movies. Sylvester's on this level where he's basically just playing himself at that point. Wesley Snipes is still getting to do character shit.
Yeah. What is your number 3, Brian?
I think Joe goes next.
Joe, sorry.
Oh, yeah. So
I'll steal another one of Joe's picks.
Yeah.
So we're at 3. We're at 3.
That laugh is like Joe would stick me with a broken beer bottle if we were in the same room together.
Don't talk. I'm putting The Rock.
You said isolate that and then put it on.
just zoom in on it.
At 3, I'm putting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think he's really coming to his own. But even the start, I still think his best action movies is The Rundown. But even his Die Hard knockoff and Skyscraper, and we watched Rampage for the show. It's not an action movie, but I just rewatched Pain and Gain the other week when I was homesick, and that adrenaline's there.
Walking Tall remake.
Walking Tall was a ton of fun. We watched that recently too, and I think he's the closest thing we have today of your Arnolds, your Stallones that's in that age. So yeah, if he's in an action movie, I'm gonna see it, like Faster, which once again more of a drama, but
Honorable mention. He's
or
in my
Stronger
honorable
was the movie. No, it was Faster.
Yeah,
Faster.
Stronger and Faster. Oh, Faster. Yeah.
I like Faster a lot, actually.
So
I just rewatched it not too long ago.
It's
It's a
solid.
revenge movie.
The only thing I'm not looking forward to, because I just really think it's gonna be flat, is his like Black Adam.
He looks so fucking funny. He looks like a turd in the air, like flying.
Well, when he was flying, no cape, he's just like by himself. Yeah, it looks really silly. He looks like Powdered Toast Man from Ren and Stimpy.
I wish that was the movie we were seeing. It's like 10 years too late, right? Like The Rock.
That's because they announced it almost 10 years ago.
If The Rock did a superhero movie, did an MCU or a DC movie like in 2012, we'd be on like our third trilogy, being like, oh shit, that's good. Anyway, that's my three.
Third pick.
Bruce Willis. The Die Hards, Striking Distance, Last Action Hero, or Last Boy Scout. Fifth Element. Just
fucking Fifth Element, man. That's such
defined what the action star was in the late '80s. Kind of took it back a little bit from was like a modern day Steve McQueen or something. Felt more like a real guy. Yeah. And still very, and like he's just great. Like he's so good in those movies. He became kind of a bit of a punchline and a one note, and then and now everybody feels bad about making those jokes. You don't have to feel bad about making those jokes. It's okay to make fun of people when they're bad. It's fine. But like you forget how fucking good he was, and like he's just awesome. Bruce Willis is great.
He's such a solid actor in terms of like he knows, like obviously like. If you were to evaluate him as an actor, you would say he's one note. But that one note, man, can fucking just sound it out.
Oh, yeah, he plays one note, but imagine it's like that one note they play by running their finger around the glass and it like vibrates the whole room, Like, it's just... I always think about that story Kevin Smith told where he talked about how he was difficult to work on a cop-out. And even at the time, even as a Kevin Smith fan, I was like, it just sounds like he was mad that you were bad at your job, dude. Like, I don't know what this story is. He sounds like a fucking pro who knew exactly what he could do and what he brings to a project, and you sound like a chud.
There is I think it might be from Cop-Out, like why this is in this movie. There's a great fucking gag making fun of Bruce Willis and Kevin Smith in a movie called I think it's like What Just Happened, and it's about Robert De Niro is an agent and he's Bruce Willis's agent, and Bruce Willis won't shave his beard for because of the Jewish faith, but he must, and he's refusing to come out of the trailer, and it's like the tension of the movie is to get Bruce Willis out of the trailer. It's like a dramedy, and it's him making fun. I think it's Bruce Willis making fun of that instance or his reputation like being difficult. Because it's a pretty like funny gag. I don't remember the movie being too great, but
I mean, he's got comedy chops. Like he knows what's funny.
Yeah, he definitely does that.
So his
look who's talking. TJ, number 2.
My number 2 is easy because Brian just said it was Bruce Willis. I don't know did you mention Jackal, which isn't necessarily an action movie.
No, I did not mention the Jackal.
You guys have ever seen the part with Jack Black and him testing out the gun, like holding out the pack of cigarettes, and like just it's probably my first squibs that I've seen on films. I seen it when I was like 11 or 12 or something like that. But Jackal was a good one. Bruce Willis too.
It's a good homoerotic movie. Number 2 for me is Keanu Reeves, baby.
You know what? Let's just join together like Voltron because he's my number 2 as well.
Yeah, man. Point Break, Speed, The Matrixes, and John Wick.
And coming back with John Wick, which I consider the best current action franchise out there.
Constantine.
So good, yeah.
It harpers back to, I feel like he really did benefit a lot from Bruce Willis, obviously, in that, this small frame dude, but he sells it with his physicality, especially with the John Wicks. Like, you can see that he put in the work, and while I don't feel like Keanu could kill me in real life, movie Keanu, I fully buy that he can kill me.
I think regular Keanu could kill me.
I think regular Keanu could kill me.
He's lanky. You know?
Yeah. But he's so peaceful though.
Yeah, he wouldn't kill me, but that doesn't mean he couldn't kill me.
I think he could snap.
He can snap. He's he's so lovable. But yeah, I love any Keanu, and it's also like a one note of Bruce Willis. Like that's just the perfect note that Keanu can play.
And I think he really
Joe.
has honed in on it. Even also, shout out to Chain Reaction, better movie than it gets credit for.
I haven't seen it in a while.
I don't know.
Is that the one where he's like running in the water? No, that's
Johnny Mnemonic.
no. That's this guy from Mr. Robot.
All right.
Never mind. Go
Well,
ahead.
you guys know what 2 is. It's Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, and honorable mention.
The Dark Horse coming in.
I mean, he has brought me my favorite action films solely based off of him being the leads, from Con Air to The Rock to Face Off. Then you could dive into Gone in 60 Seconds and fucking even his string of ones. I watch all of them, so I forever cemented into my action star. Just hell, even Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, he got to be an action star.
Oh, that reminds me, Joe. I meant to tell you, I was happy to be at Target today. The Target exclusive Blu-ray of that was regular $25 was on clearance for some reason for $7.50. I just I haven't seen it, but I just bought it. That's a stupid deal. Why would I not get that?
Please, I'm so proud of you. You did. I think you'll really find it fun.
I wanted to see it, and I was like, hell, this is cheaper than if I would have gone to see it at the theater.
Yeah, I just pre-ordered it, and it came, but I wish I waited to fucking that deal.
And I don't know if it was just my local Target, because it was literally like the regular one was regular price, and their exclusive, they had one left, clearance tagged. I was like, that can't be right.
That don't make sense, but...
Well, whatever. I fucking bought that shit.
I was thinking about Hard Rain, Christian Slater. That was
that's like an artsy action.
It's a fun one. That was like one of the few
John Cusack.
Spoiler alert: villainous turns for Morgan Freeman.
Is Cusack in that? Sorry, I'm not.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
But yeah, Nicolas Cage is a great pick. He's an honorable mention.
Drive Angry.
Such a good. It's fun.
He's a fun action star.
So I feel
I'm glad he's out of the string of straight to DVD action star movies, because
he can choose a little bit more now.
Yeah.
So I feel like nobody has mentioned the guy, so might as well all of us say our number one.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's Arnold. Well,
yeah, Arnold, of course.
Mine's Stallone. I put Stallone on mine, and I teetered around Arnold.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, you put Stallone number one?
Put Stallone at number one.
You put a woman on your list.
You left Arnold off. Wow.
Who you trying to?
Is Laura off camera with a gun on you? Blink twice.
I thought I'd make it interesting.
Outrage in TJ's eyes. You put a woman?
No, Arnold is clearly the number one action star.
My whole thing with Arnold and Stallone, and why, because always as a kid growing up, that was the thing, especially for those of us who are so much older. But my whole thing with those two, and why I obviously put Schwarzenegger at number one, is there's a 10-year stretch where he is just knocking out banger after banger, and doesn't get pigeonholed. It's funny, this movie, we're going to talk about Last Action Hero, but in Last Action Hero, the character he is, Jack Slater, is the kind of character he almost never actually played. Yep. He was never really a cop with the guy, with a guy who yelled at him. That was it's funny that he parodied that, or maybe it's that's why the character is that way, because they wanted to. But he did all this weird sci-fi shit, and he did I guess Commando would be the one exception, but a lot of his stuff is really varied. It's all
running from Running Man to True Lies. There's such a wide gap from Total Recall to.
I think his most generic one, and it's in the 90s or 2000. It's fucking Collateral Damage. When he has shit that's just generic.
Well, that was
That's it was later in his career when he started getting into stuff that seemed more kind of traditional,
I his comeback was The Last Stand, and that's probably his most basic of them all.
Yeah.
But that was I'm old and I'm coming back from being the governor. Let's just do something simple. Let's see if people still buy me as a star.
Yeah, like Kindergarten Cop, I kind of guess feels like a Jack Slater type of character. He has like the villain in Frost.
I guess the beginning, but that movie already subverts it. So like then the idea to parody it in a different, even the movie where he almost plays that character, he doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. I thought as I'm watching that, I'm like, that's weird that this doesn't feel like an Arnold character, really.
Arnold with a beard too in Kindergarten Cop.
No, I feel like Last Action Hero is like his sexiest, one of his sexiest roles.
He looks good in Last Action Hero. He really does.
That type Salmon-ish shirt, like ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Girl.
Some of the best action figures ever. We'll get to that later. Anyway.
Anything else? I know I talked a lot, so anybody else got
No, this is a good warm-up.
Topics? Yeah. Are we topicking?
Did we hit anybody else have an honorable mention? Or no? Okay.
I think we kind of threw them.
Most of mine were martial artists. Like
Mel Gibson and Kurt Russell were on my honorable mention list.
Oh, Kurt Russell? I always forget about. No, yeah, I would definitely put him in like an action thing.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's a good pick.
Yeah.
So, I guess, which one do you want, Brian? Do you want the movie duo or the genre? Since both of them were yours.
I'll go ahead and take the movie duo one's more. I'll take the genre one because it specifically happened while I was watching the Jurassic Park movies leading up to the new Jurassic World Dominion. So it made me think of this.
So, you want to do that one now?
Oh, I don't care. Whatever way you want to do
it. Now. Do it now. You already
okay. All right, fine. We'll do it now.
Do it live.
100 episodes in, we're so good at this. No, I was just thinking because there's no other really like competing dinosaur movie or franchise that's really been that successful. There are plenty of like kind of shitty ones that flew under the radar, but like nobody that really hangs in there. And so I was like thinking about movies that are their own genre, like Jurassic Park is. But it doesn't need to necessarily be something that big. But if you can think of a movie that like is kind of so individualistic that it just kind of stands on its own as its own thing. You want to start, Yusuf? I see you have your hand raised. You're very polite.
Thank you. Scary movie. Scary movie, while it didn't define the genre of spoof movies, after Scary Movie, the success of 1 and 2, there's not a single parody movie that ever reached not only the quality or the success of that movie. So they revived the spoof genre. I'm not going to say that they defined it, but they're the only success story of the 2000s. And by far, like nobody even reached half their level. Like think about the hero movies or the epic movies or the Spartans or like there's so many shit.
Obvious outlier, but I feel like it's different enough that I can mention it here and not undercut your point. Is Dewey Cox, but that's like a very specific thing. They're not real. They're parodying.
Like Popstar did
also,
it,
but
Shaun of the Dead parodying.
Yeah, but like the genre that Scary Movie created was like, I guess, mashing of all. The first one is mainly Scary Movie, Scream, but they do bring a lot of elements of other movies.
Last summer in that one too.
Yeah,
it's like Airplane. It's like that vibe, like even more tightly like honed to the script.
It was the first
Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your. That's the precursor to that too.
Yeah, it was the first successful one where it was like there's ripping movies because there's ones in the 80s that are like that. There's more in the 90s like the same thing. But I just wish a spoof movie that's not a music bio spoof movie came out that was good now because they still release that shit. Like they just go to DVD.
And the reason why I picked Scary Movie is like it got to a point, and I feel like Jaws and Jurassic Park and other can be mentioned. It's like, oh, it's like a Jaws, or it's like all the spoof movies got that. Oh, it's like a scary movie.
Yeah, it's like
so it became the definition.
It's a genreless movie.
What about you, Jeff?
I put so I don't know. The first one that came to my head was the Parasite. Because I remember when Parasite was released, it had a hard time putting it in a box because yes, it's a a thriller basically, but it's funny, it's dramatic, it's scary at some points. So yeah, I'll stay away from like spoiling anything of it. But it was
it's
just
also
kind
like
of
a family drama, but not in that way that like elevated horror tries to be a drama also at the same time. You know what I mean?
It was just
it's also a social commentary. It's also a geopolitical. It's like it's a lot of shit.
I guess it's just a complete movie, and there's not many complete movies, so it seemed genreless to me.
Yeah, the only one that I compare it to, and it's not even the same at all, but it's like a movie that also you have to like pick and choose moments of the movie to go like, okay, this is a thriller, this is a drama, this is The Skin I Live In. I don't know if nobody has seen that movie, the Pedro Almodovar movie. Like that movie, you watch like the papers literally said like this movie doesn't have a genre. Like
it's like I have some honorable mentions too. I'll save to the end, but like there's just those genreless movies, right? You feel like
we did Fear and Loathing on the show, and I feel like that's a movie that's like that.
That's
is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it a crime movie? Is it a drug movie? Like what is it's everything.
Yeah.
The biggest offender, I think, is when people, I don't have this an example off my mind, is when people go, oh, the movie's hysterical, or it's presented as a comedy, you see it, and then it's everything, and you're like, what? I thought I was going to see the funnies.
Or like every movie that I watch out that comes out from Sweden that they present as a comedy.
That's
a horrifying drama with like 3 funny lines in it.
The last one, the Mads Mikkelsen one, like everybody's hilarious. It's like, it's funny-ish, but it's like fucked up movie too.
Yeah, it's mostly a sad drama though.
Build it as a comedy.
I'm sorry if I take this from anybody, and if I did, feel free to jump in. It's just the one that kind of popped in my head first because, like Joe said, you can call it one thing, but you're never going to see anything like it. And they maybe tried it with the same people for obviously a worse movie, but Jackass is literally its own thing that you'll never see. It's the Bad Grandpa thing, which I know.
That's a really smart pick, and like
that's a great
undeniably its own thing. Like could not be replicated, cannot be copied. Like,
and you could try. There might be people in like 11 years, like which are going to end up being like YouTube personalities that are normally doing it now on their own channels and stuff like that. But if someone tried to make a movie, I don't know what it is about Jackass, but
just dudes hanging out.
Yeah, and even the way they elevated the newest one with like adding new people, and it's not the same group, and they just like then it was like almost at this point like fraternity where you're like, well, you got seniority, so you guys are gonna do all the real crazy stuff.
Yeah.
We'll do the Steve-O's and the Johnny Knoxville stuff, but y'all are getting messed up.
It reminds me of like and what I used to get, especially from listening to the Kevin Smith commentaries on his movies, which was like just a bunch of buddies sitting around talking about the fun they had making their movie, and like not necessarily talking about the technical aspects, but like giving you a little behind the scenes stuff and just interacting, and they just feel very natural. It feels like what you're seeing is very real.
One of my favorite parts of the new Jackass isn't even a stunt; it's when you get the clip of them talking about Cobra Kai. And I'm like, I want to hear more of that conversation.
That's the thing. It's like if they have those moments, and then where obviously you're gonna do the stunts, and then there's just like moments of them just all hanging out in the movies. And most obviously everything's Hollywooded up. It's all fashion and glam, but like they're the one group of guys in movies that I believe like everything that happens behind the scenes is still happening just as much on in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So there's no fakeness to it. So
I love that Eric Andre. Like he created this fucked up show where everybody is afraid to go on his show, and like they interview him, and he's like, "I've never been this tense in my life. I'm so scared to be around all these people." It's so
it does seem like I could never hack it. Like it seems torturous. Like to be a part of that friend group. Like I'm not man enough. I couldn't do it.
Like the toilet blowing up while you. Like, I can't take a fucking pee in peace. Like, not even that is sacred.
Worry about my dick getting blown off.
And they all know your weak fears. They all know your weaknesses.
They know everything.
Yeah.
Like, Danger Aaron is legitimately going to have PTSD after, like, the bear shit. That bear one is scary.
With his fingers? Oh, goodness.
the
That's a
Silence of
great
the Lambs sketch or bit is like is
That
them
made
just
me
going,
laugh so fucking
going.
hard.
It's the best one.
The way Dave England comes out after, and he's like, huh, "Is it really over?" Like he's like does not believe that it's ended. He's like, still something else horrible is gonna happen to him.
It's so hilarious that four men are like on the brink of having a nervous breakdown, and this asshole is just like with his penis tucked between his legs, just dancing. He's just having the time of his
and
life.
Like, that's just for us. Like they can't see him in there. He can't see them either. He's just doing it.
He's
Open
just
the camera,
vibing.
just vibing out.
Ryan, what's your pick?
This actually is this is kind of the other movie that made me think about this, and it's Witness with Harrison Ford. It's an Amish thriller. Like, there's no other real like movies like that mainstream and like set in Amish society like that. Yeah, they did a couple crappy reality shows a couple years ago that were all fake as hell. But like just
Amish Mafia.
We have Kingpin, but that's like that's a comedy. I'm talking about like
Kingpin.
There's no like thrillers set in the world of the Amish. That's just weird. Just a one-off movie that exists that's different.
Amish Mafia.
That's the type of movie that I tend to forget.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie.
That's one that something else. I always think it's like The Fugitive for some reason. I don't know why. But obviously completely different.
It's also Sex Drive.
I was going to say Sex Drive.
Oh, yeah, that is, because that's about Rumspringa, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they go to, their car breaks down, I believe, and they got to get
That's
the Amish
one of the few good Seth Green acting. Like, he's always fixing cars for people, and it's like, well, if you think this is enough as a payment for us fixing your car for free. He's so sarcastic and asshole in that movie. It's actually funny. But the movie's not good.
Welcome to the Seth Green podcast, where we're just going to talk about Austin Powers,
Airborne, the works of Seth
Austin
Green.
Powers 2.
It's going to be a very short-lived podcast.
Airborne.
We definitely need to talk about his Can't Hardly Wait character.
I was just going to say Can't Hardly Wait with the weird fucking ski goggles and the big orange pants. And his backpack full of...
And everything else about that character.
And the blackface that he's doing without doing blackface.
Guy has a backpack and it's just full of fucking lube and scented candles.
Oh, what boys up?
That's a good movie.
Honorable mention.
Can't hardly wait.
Into the Spider-Verse.
What?
Well, it was original until 10 other multiverse movies came out in the last year.
I wasn't thinking the multiverse. I was thinking the blending of its animation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Chip and Dale would be there, but blending of its animation and.
But they created like a whole new type of animation. Yeah.
Well, I would have said Roger Rabbit and Chip and Dale just came out. That would have been one.
That Ryan's Rescue Rangers is really fun. Talking about movies I wish.
Hardcore Henry is a movie that's its own genre.
Yeah.
Does what's his name count with that the Jason Statham child action star
Crank
mentioned? Yeah,
Crank.
I know it's like the format's out there, but the movie Searching with John Cho.
They're kind of all online.
All told through like the Zoom or like the emails.
They did that horror movie Unfriended or something.
That one Searching though works as like a detective story, and. Yeah, it's better than any of the horror ones, except for that movie Host that came out.
You really don't see that twist coming, huh? Topic!
It worked.
Ooh, we got another topic.
Is that fine, movie?
Yusuf's topic or Joe's topic?
I don't know, do you want to play
duos?
We can skip games if you want.
I came up with this topic all by myself. So what's your favorite movie duos that have multiple movies, not necessarily in the same franchise? Brian, what's your pick?
Oh, yes. I'm glad. Good question. I like this question. You came up with it.
We had a bracket about this question.
We had a comedy bracket.
Oh, it was just comedy?
And actually this guy came up earlier, and his duo partner could have been on the list also. Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson came to mind. I was watching Die Hard with a Vengeance, and then I realized I broke my own rule because I was only thinking of Unbreakable, and I forgot they did Glass also. But like, even if it had just been Unbreakable, I think it could have made the list. And then they're in Pulp Fiction, but they don't have any scenes together, really.
That's okay.
Okay.
They're still in the movie together, and I mean, I have some other honorable mentions, but
their chemistry in Die Hard is so fucking
right, exactly. Die Hard, and like he's a big part of what makes it so good. And Bruce, John McClane had never really had a partner like that was with him all the time. That wasn't just somebody on the radio or whatever. So
and just cursing.
That's top 3 action trilogy. Die Hard 1, 2, and 3.
Oh yeah,
right?
Die Hard 1, 2, and 3 is incredible.
I could watch those all back to back. Obviously, the first 2 have more of a winter sense. Christmas, Die Hard.
I always
watch the Die Hard's a Christmas movie, whatever. I do always make a point to watch Die Hard at Christmas time, but I watch Die Hard 2 also a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
I don't love Die Hard 2.
I just like when he throws.
It's in that Ghostbusters 2 vein where it is very much just more of the same, but it's good.
But it's good, yeah.
In my,
I don't know. You just give me. I remember my thoughts.
My pick is Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. I went for the low-hanging fruit, but that's such a good pick, man. Raging Bull,
even if you just did
Casino.
the Scorsese, you got at least 4 good ones. Like,
yeah. Man, it's just like I know that I think we've talked about it in the past. Like everybody, rightfully so, sucks like Robert De Niro's balls for being an amazing actor. But man, Joe Pesci goes blow for blow with him. Like I feel like he holds his own and many times steals the scene from him.
He's always stealing the scene.
And it's amazing to watch those two powerhouses just work together. And
like with Pesci, Pesci has like that real like calm side. De Niro plays the calm guy, and like might seem like break for a moment, but his break is still calm. It's still controlled. Pesci can be calm to crazy to calm, and then to just fucking straight up bananas, and then bring it all the way back to calm out of nowhere. Like I was thinking about him in Goodfellas when he beats the shit out of your shine box. And at the very end, he's like, I'm so sorry, and just brings it back down after beating the shit out of him.
Like, I'm sorry about you. Yeah, sorry, Henry. Yeah.
What? I love when the fucking shoots Spider, and he gives that same look. He's like, what? What?
I get the line.
I will say, and this is not to denigrate Pesci in any way, but I think like the difference is that Robert De Niro is always that good in almost everything he's in, whereas like De Niro raises Pesci to his level. When they're together, Pesci is always better. You know what I mean? You can't think of a lot of Joe Pesci movies outside of My Cousin Vinny that are like as good as they all.
Home Alone.
Huh?
Home Alone.
I don't consider that a Joe Pesci vehicle, really. I mean,
8 hits in a duffel bag.
It's a Macaulay Culkin. Oh, what are you gonna do? Gone Fishing too?
Gone Fishing. Drowning Mona.
Are we gonna do Lethal Weapon 4? Like all Lethal Weapons?
It's a Weapon 4.
Yeah.
And 3.
Lethal Weapon 3 and 4.
He shines in 4.
He does
3, he's kind of there.
Hey man, you almost hit me with the car when I was 12 or 10 or something, and my life.
I'm not trying. I just said it wasn't trying. I just think Joe Pesci's great, but he's at his best when he's paired with De Niro.
And he should have hit me with his car, and I would have money now.
He wouldn't have got nothing. He would have killed you.
I was gonna say you're fighting just being out in the Pine Barrens now. That's all.
No, we got witnesses.
They'll be there with you, baby. TJ.
I'm trying to think, like, because I know what I'm pretty sure I fought for the most during our bracket. But the minimum, it's not even minimum. It's like they got 4 movies together and a show and an internet show. But Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, for me, I will always watch something they're stars of. Like almost anything, like even Paul.
If they're together, that's enough to bring you in, really.
Paul holds up at age pretty well. I just watched it recently.
Paul is probably better than The End of the World or The World's End or whatever.
World's End, and I just thinking about that because I was just on Tubi TV that's available. World's End, and I do like it, but it's like it's nowhere up to Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead.
Here's my thing with The World's End, since nobody asked. I wish it was just about the guys in the pub crawl, and I wish they left all the alien shit out of it. When it turns into that, I lose all interest in it. I love all the interaction between the guys and like their like what's been going on with them and their dynamic and how it's changed. All that is so good. And all those guys, the cast is amazing. And then it becomes like a dumb sci-fi action movie, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Yeah. It basically becomes Shaun of the Dead at the end. They're just fighting off zombies and running away and shit. And I'm just like, all right.
Well, I was
That's
gonna throw
awesome.
like a little like add in on this is like obviously we saw Pesci come back and do The Irishman a couple years ago, and we could argue about that movie if we ever want to. I don't want to because it's
I actually never saw it.
yeah, it's not that
Pretty
good.
good.
It's fine.
Okay, see,
It's fine.
anyway,
Too
but
long.
like I would like the I would
I
like
don't
to
think
see
it deserves its Criterion status.
join back up again and do another film. You know what I mean? Like you don't need Edgar Wright. You guys did Call by yourself.
I mean, a lot of people have said that ever since they stopped working with Edgar Wright has been.
Yeah,
Has anybody seen Last Night in Soho? It just came on HBO Max. I'm gonna watch it, but I haven't seen it yet. Anybody watch it?
Fine.
no, I was
So,
gonna do the same thing.
I thought it looked fine, and it's got Matt Smith in it, which is like a kiss of death. That guy cannot pick a movie to save his life.
It's fine.
Right.
The ending is very. Okay.
Well, I remember watching the trailer and being like, "This looks pretty good," and then the end of the trailer was really bad, and I was like, "Uh-oh, that's weird."
The main actress, she's a wonderful human being, very beautiful, but her voice gets to a point that you go like, "Can you
Not
just
Anya Taylor-Joy, the
shut
other
the
girl,
fuck the other
girl
girl?
is?
Yeah, can you just shut the fuck up already?"
Like
Her
the
voice
girl-
is
Yeah, I don't
very
know that accent thing.
very high pitched, very annoying and grating. Joe.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. I kind of want to shake it up because I do have my normal ones. It's
Check it out. Check
it's
it out.
Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly always do it for me, minus
shaking.
Sherlock Holmes. But that's not what I want to pick. And this is really shaking up is singing Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And it's not really just starring movies together, but like their interactions in Meet the Parents. And
Tenenbaums, it's a good movie that they're both in.
Royal Tenenbaums.
So Royal Tenenbaums and
Night at the Museum.
yeah, I think they just work really well together. Hell, even the
Starsky and
Starsky
Hutch.
and Hutch has moments. Zoolander is the big one. There a lot of just look like they have so much fun in that fucking movie together, running around. Yeah, I kind of miss that comedy duo.
Owen Wilson is in Heavyweights.
Is he?
No.
I don't think so.
I had some honorable mentions that were comedy, but I kind of veered away from comedy.
Yeah,
too.
I wanted to just veer away of not talking about Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly again because I do like them. We'll probably never see them work together again.
No, probably not. They kind of fell out.
Sad, because from what that article I read, it sounded like once way Adam McKay put it at least was once Will Ferrell's done with you, he's done with you.
Oh, so he must have got done with having a good career because that's been a while. That's been a long time.
Yeah, he actually really hasn't put out a good.
Hell no, he hasn't put out a good movie in a long fucking time.
Come back at him, Will. Come on, Will. Come back at him. You won't.
He got nothing.
Stop it!
But yeah.
Oh wait, I had an honorable mention.
Oh, go ahead.
These guys, they were kind of a punchline for a while, but I think they came back in the last year and showed they still got it. I'm talking about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Great.
They're fucking good. They're good together on screen. They're good writing partners. They're fucking good.
What were they in?
They're in The Last Duel, the Ridley Scott movie.
Oh, to the Ripley one? Is that Ridley Scott?
Yeah, Ridley Scott.
Rape movie.
It was really good. And
I said rape movie.
Oh, yeah, well, that too.
Okay, cool. Great. Dropping the R word on this thing now, huh? I'm out, guys.
All right, so we're gonna play a game, and this is going to be
Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the best one, really.
Yeah, honestly, you win.
Oh, if we're doing TV, I also wanted to throw out Walt Goggins and
Danny McBride.
McBride. Yeah, they were on my list, but TV wasn't eligible. But
yeah, I mean, you used to be able to put in Seth Rogen and James Franco. They put some fucking good ass movies together, but canceled. So anyway, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna do a pitch. We're gonna do our old classic pitch game. I'm gonna give you a plot, a character, and a note. And then I'm gonna, and then you're gonna have to pitch something for it, and I'll pick the best pitch. So
mine. I'll tell you that.
Let's go just by order of movie, who's picking next. So Brian, you go first, then yeah, Brian needs TJ. All right, so let's pick. I'm picking at random, and you're each gonna get a minute to pitch.
Full minute.
So your character is a
As long as I last.
a video game character come to life?
Oh, everybody's doing this one?
No, just
Oh,
Brian.
this is just for me. It's just for me.
Okay.
Goes on a quest to slay a dragon. So that kind of fits. And your studio note is, what if the hero was actually trying to escape a bloodthirsty cult? So I'll give you a little bit to think about that while I pick Yusuf's. A young politician with dreams of saving the world is your character. The plot: fights in bloody gladiator death matches. And your studio note: 2 words, laser dogs. So, a young politician with dreams of saving the world fights in a bloody gladiator death match and include laser dogs. And TJ.
Kid in the wheelchair.
A dysfunctional family on a road trip is your character.
That should be easy.
Vacation.
Okay.
Your
Christmas
plot gets trapped in the body of a bear.
Midsummer.
All of them?
Well, I guess you could, figure what
The
works.
whole dysfunctional family?
Midsummer.
I can't write the movie for you.
And
then, can we kill off the main character in a really surprising twist?
So the bear is not as surprising enough?
No.
Well, TJ could tell me the plot. So, Brian.
I'm up first.
Let
I
me
was
get a
too busy
timer.
thinking about everybody else's pitches, but don't worry, I'll come up with something.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
So Disney announces a live-action movie, a remake of their Dragon Slayer, the from the late '80s, right before the Renaissance, right before that might not be the name, but it's close to something like that. But you know the one I'm talking about, the lanky knight with the weird helmet, and he fights a dragon. So you're sitting in the theater and you're watching this movie, and it's like a pretty decent live-action remake or whatever.
That's what every studio wants to hear, decent.
Yeah, well, it's Disney live-action remake, so it's decent.
Yeah, fair.
But just as he gets to fight the big dragon, there starts to be like weird stuff happening with like the reality of the situation, very hallucinogenic, things are kind of coming in and out, and you realize that what he's been experiencing isn't the Dragon Slayer video game come to life that he thinks he is. It's him strapped to a chair being drugged and brainwashed by a cult. So he's like slipping in and out of the reality of this knights and armor and dragons, and also escaping this. So like he's seeing some reality, but he's also seeing like fantasy shit. The cultists.
Brian, I get it. It's time.
Sorry.
All right.
Hey, I've also played Assassin's Creed. That sounds amazing.
So, the 2 things. Do you have a name for it? And also, we need to incorporate Lizzo into the movie. The studio really wants Lizzo.
Lizzo plays the dragon.
Okay.
Just as is. It's just like a big Lizzo. She's just like she looks. And whatever she wants to wear is fine. She's going to be superimposed like the size of Smaug.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
Perfect.
And the name will be whatever the name of the game was, because it's a live-action Disney remake.
Okay, yeah, get butts and seats.
But that's what I'm saying. It's going to twist on them Cabin in the Woods style and fuck some shit up. And a bunch of kids are going to get traumatized. It's going to be awesome.
Perfect. So Yusuf.
I'm having an anxiety attack, I think.
Why?
No reason.
So, whenever you want, Joe.
All right, ready, set, 1, 2, 3, go.
Barry Coogan stars as a young politician ready to set the world on fire. Recently selected as the youngest senator in American politician history, he wants to change Washington for good. But once he gets there, he realizes it's not about debating your fellow colleagues. It's about fighting to the death under the Senate House in order to get your bill towards the president. There'll be laser dogs included. The title of the movie?
How how do we?
What? Sorry.
How are the laser dogs included?
They're the ones that protect the door of the president. So once he defeats all the senators on his way to pass the bill for world peace, because he's going to save the world with that bill. He has to defeat the laser dogs in order to get inside of the president for him to sign the bill.
Solid. What's
the title is Jerry Murdering instead of gerrymandering.
Love that. I love
That's
that.
Good. That sounds like a title they came up with and then worked backwards to the plots.
Now,
I did.
Now the studio really wants to include a Mr. Bean element.
Mr. Bean. Well, obviously he's gonna be the president. He's this dumb buffoon president that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. All the senators and the congressmen are controlling all his actions. They just keep him locked in his office. He's making dumb stuff in his office, Mr. Beaning it up in there while Barry is killing everybody in the Senate floor.
I can get on board with that. All right. And TJ.
Jerry Murdering.
Jerry Murdering. Phenomenal. TJ, can your anxiety pitch?
Yeah, I can definitely.
All right.
Just bear with me here.
All right. 1, 2, 3. You can start.
We open with loud arguments downstairs in the kitchen. A mother and a father are fighting. This little boy in this family, a dysfunctional family, has a magical trick he can do. He can shrink himself down. Every time he hears his family fighting because his dad brought his sneaky link to the football game and his mom found out about it, he hid himself into the sewer drain and mom always finds him there. So she has to coax him out of the drain. One last straw, this dad wants to get his family back together, so he takes his family onto a trip to the Jersey Shore. And as we know in Jersey Shore, there's bears everywhere. This little boy, though, has a very special toy. And during camping sessions, when they're all at the beach, a bear comes in, eats in that little boy's toy box and swallows it whole. When the family comes back, they realize that a bear has ruckus their whole campsite, eaten everything there. It's also the little boy's toy. He gets very upset. He shrinks himself down to a little ball and finds that bear and crawls into his asshole and gets himself trapped in the bear trying to get his toy out. Now, this is a Disney Plus exclusive, guys. So PG. This family, this dad and this mom are going on a crazy trip. They get the entire sea town to go after this bear. And it's just a bear.
Sounds great. So you're at time, but I'll give you a little 10-second
No,
run
you're
off.
good. If we're going to kill the main character, this is a Disney movie. We can't kill a kid. Maybe the dad dies in a very heroic way, saving them from the bear. But unfortunately, the bear is going to die when the kid actually can't control his power and gets bigger and tears the bear's stomach from inside. And then the dad has to dig him out.
Well, that sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, the studio does really want to include a supernatural element to it, but not.
Magic.
It is magic. Yeah. And do you have a name?
Well, if you want the magic element, the kid has a crazy grandmother who died and left him a stone that makes him be able to shrink. She's a witch.
Yeah, that's magical. Okay. Great. So,
what's
all
the title?
great pitches, guys. Yeah, you got a title.
The Bear Hole.
The Bear Hole. Okay, I like that title.
Wow.
That
might get you an interesting audience. I'm not gonna lie.
Bear Hole. Honestly, I was on the fence, but
pride.
the Bear Hole might that name alone might the audience.
And the story ever really happened. There were no parents fighting.
Coming out June 2023.
I wish I could crown all of you the winners, but I was actually most captivated. Brian, you got Go Picture.
Bullshit. Just because he was
complaining about losing enough to get away.
So much that he got picked.
Yay! I don't mind winning like that at all.
White privilege.
Yusuf, I think you've won every time. No, I liked Brian's
white privilege
story.
I had a little kid in a bear's asshole. I don't even know what to say. Anyway, we're going to the movies, guys. We got nothing else to say, correct?
No, movies.
What could I possibly say?
Last time when I picked this movie released on the day of the last episode we recorded. in 1993. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. It had, I think, one of the best Burger King toy lines ever, if not also the best toy line.
I do not remember the Burger King.
I'm Googling this right now.
Something makes me think there was something. It could be. I could be completely wrong. But either way, Arnold Schwarzenegger's last act.
Toys.
It's incredibly meta. It's one of those movies that I didn't know what it was at the time, like how I was making fun of some of my favorite action movies. But also, it is, I don't know, it's like one of those classic nostalgia movies. I don't know if anyone's had a first time watching this.
It's my
No,
first
I've
time.
seen this. Oh, Brian.
Brian, that surprised me a lot.
Yeah, this seems like a...
Right? Well, but here's the thing. I was, old enough to recognize a piece of shit when I saw one. So I didn't... I wasn't a child, so I didn't sit down to watch this because I knew it looked very bad.
Basically, it centers around the lead, Jack Slater, the lead character, but also around a kid that you may have only seen in My Girl 2 and this. I don't think he's ever been anything else.
Yeah, that's about it, I think.
Yeah. And he lives in real world New York. He gets a magic ticket from a very sad, drunk movie theater owner. They don't let that. They don't let you know that, but it also is
like later when he says he's going to use the ticket to go back and see I was real worried about what he was going to do when he went back to this.
Oh yeah.
And like, I'm going to go find Lauren Bacall. Like, oh, all right, buddy.
But the kid gets a magic ticket and goes into his favorite action series, the Jack Slater series. I believe this movie is number 4 in it.
3.
Yes. This is supposed to be 3.
Oh, this is 4. You're right. The premiere.
This 4. Yeah. And then obviously fun ensues. Brian, you said first timers, so you guys lead this off. You like?
Oh, I've seen it.
Oh,
I've seen
you
this
said
movie way
yes.
too many.
Brian, I thought you said me too.
I love this shitty movie.
Nice. Well,
I watched it for the first time like a few months ago, a little intoxicated, and I had a really good time with it. Like it starts like the hectic way it fucking starts off though. Just like not knowing it's it's you're watching the Jack Slater movie always fucking confused me.
Do you know how often that little kid's aesthetic is my thing? Is where he wears the Letterman jacket with the hoodie. What bothers me most is eating popcorn like bloody knuckles in the beginning. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah, why are his hands all bloody? They ever say?
I don't know. Maybe later when he gets
There's like a deleted scene where he got in a fight or something, maybe. I mean, I can't imagine there's anything deleted from this movie because it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long for some reason.
It earns his run. No, it doesn't.
Oh, I'm glad you feel that way because I'm going to put you to the test with my next pick.
No, Kindergarten Cop?
Yep, that's
right. One of the things that I've always loved about this movie is the villain. I feel like the villain is so much fun. It's so stupid with the changing eye. Well, both of them. The changing, like he's such an like the actor himself. He's such a good actor. Tywin Lannister, yeah. And I like that he. Like you, obviously, if you see him versus Arnold, you're never gonna buy it. But he is so much smarter and so much menacing in terms of his use of the ticket and his wanting to destroy Slater, that you buy into him being a viable villain for Arnold. And that's one of the biggest trouble that figure like Arnold faces whenever you put him against a villain. Like he's such a fucking huge guy that you have to make the villain at least interesting or conniving enough to go like, okay, he's probably like he could fuck him up from a very far distance.
Like I believe that Tom Noonan with a giant axe could fuck up.
Yes, that's what I was.
It's still, but the funny part about that is though, I believe any Arnold villain because of Bennett and Commando.
Because of Bennett set the bar so low that like a dude with my body type in a chainmail shirt can fight with Arnold.
What kind of bothers me about this with the villain, if I can think of his not the
Ripper,
not Tom Noonan, but the other one, where they show in the very beginning where they have the obviously lead like mafia guy talking to the one dude, and he's like, so and so, and he just does the gun without looking while reading the paper. and comes back. They never really go into like him being like a dead eye, like ever really again, other than just having.
Yeah, the marks. They never bring the marksman thing back into it. Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing about not the funny thing, but the detail is like when he did that, he had the bullseye eye on, so they kind of imply that his eye.
But he never really uses that eye again.
No, he doesn't use it again. He doesn't need a headshot after that, I guess.
All right, question: what's better, Deadpool or Last Action Hero?
Deadpool.
Last Action Hero.
Ooh, we got a split
I'm
panel.
being dead honest. Like, I don't like that.
I'm a first-time watcher, right? And I will admit that also, like, the buzz around this movie when it was coming out was not good. Like, I'm old enough to remember it was bad.
It was a
hit.
The
movie flopped because of it, which was weird for an Arnold movie to flop. That was like a new thing.
Because it was. It's the classic. Oh, it's so ahead of its time, but it really was because people were back when Arnold was just like hit after hit after hit. People were expecting another point A to point B action movie, then this comedy parody comes out.
I agree that the idea is very ahead of its time.
Yeah,
I don't think it's executed.
You don't think the execution
perfectly?
It's not executed perfectly. I
just don't care about the kid.
And I'm not going to harp on length because honestly, we make those jokes enough. But it's the pace. There's too much in the fake world and not enough in the real world. Then it feels like the real world stuff is all kind of rushed at the end. There need to be a better balance there of like coming into the real world earlier and him like learning about the real world and learning his limitations a little bit. And like
it could also be a structure thing. They could have always like done a Pulp Fiction thing where we saw him first in the real world. You get him like being this out of fish story, then show how he got there. In the ending, you're not rushing him. Like we can fully digest his action beats instead of having to be like, he doesn't know what the fuck is happening.
You guys want to talk about how also Brian kind of brought this up a moment ago, but like the timing of it, like the kid comes back. So basically, the kid goes into the movie. We're going to talk about him just experiencing
with the dynamite.
He's trying to talk everyone into like this is just a movie. The blockbuster scene is my favorite ones ever. But also when he goes back and the mom's like, "Where you been?" Like the mom, as much as single mothers, I understand it's tough. The mom didn't give a fuck about this kid. This kid went to the movies at like
that mom wanted.
He was like, no, he got robbed. He got robbed. Went to the police station by himself, made a report, came home to the same apartment by himself, or was supposed to the same apartment he just got robbed. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced a robbery, and I'm not even talking about one where you were there, but if your house has been broken into and your shit stolen while you're not there, you don't feel safe in that place that
much. Sure.
Like, it takes time to get acclimated again. And if you're a kid, a home alone, who just had a knife stuck in his face and chained to a fucking radiator or whatever,
you ain't feeling safe.
Traumatized.
Dude, well, she was classic 90s, like, parody. Like, it was like the trope.
Kid, which is...
They were just like, whatever.
But, like, the kid goes to the movies again at night with the really very vaguely kind of uncomfortable movie owner.
Sure, could be a little creep factor there. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got the little jacket on. He's like, "I've been waiting for you," and pulls it on tight. Then the kid goes in the movie, obviously, and he spends the rest of the movie trying to explain to Jack Slater that it's just a movie. But this is like my favorite part of it. It's like it's crazy that it flopped.
But I've can I put a pin there? I've never understood like him being such a huge fan of the franchise. I never understood why he was so. Even as a kid, like I was like, why aren't you like just living in the world? Why are you so obsessed with like ruining it for everybody?
Just enjoy it. Like enjoy this amazing world.
It would have been better if the kid would have been like, "Oh, this is fucking amazing. Let's shoot some bad guys. Let's do this."
I think you need a little bit of
He's like Randy. If Randy got transported into a horror movie, he's too busy pointing out the tropes.
Yeah.
Live the dream, man.
You need a little bit of like what they figured out in like the Jumanji like rock one. Like, ooh, it's a video game, right? Like, like I could do shit in it, or like whatever. You need
the rules a little bit, and like exploit them a little bit more.
Yeah, you need that little. There's no playing around in the movie world, which
It
is
could have
where
been.
it loses.
It could have been like a one-off joke. Maybe when the cat comes in, like Danny DeVito cat, going like, you're not seeing that?" And it's like, all right, fuck it, let's just keep going. Then I'm in it. Whatever.
Say like the police chief. I don't know if anyone recognizes him from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he made me lay down on my back.
He's from the Cyborg.
Yeah. He ties him up with the thing in Terminator 2, but he's also from National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah, I just went vacation over the
dog.
weekend. Andy's from he's the boxer guy in Batteries Not Included too, right?
Yes.
Guys, talk about movies that I forget scene by scene we watched. Batteries Not Included.
1,000%.
That movie's incredible, and you're wrong for that.
I didn't say I didn't like it, TJ. I just said I forgot every frame of it.
I forgot it too. But yeah, I love that they make fun of that trope of like him being the black police commissioner that's always yelling like in 90,000 80s movies.
I
him
love
busting the windows
right past Catherine Trammell and the T-1000. Like he's like, what?
It's very fun.
That's what I'm saying.
It has a lot of nuggets in it. And
it's definitely like got plenty of and in a time when we weren't so inundated with that stuff. Like now it feels obviously a little tropey, like we've all but that time obviously very original.
Sylvester Stallone in the Terminator stuff, like
the blockbuster. Yeah, that's a great.
Like 555 area code. That's all they have area codes.
The
normal women don't look like this.
Yeah. And his daughter too being like this supermodel. He's just like, she's like, what the fuck is happening?
What's her name from Billy Madison and Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, Sonya Blade. She's an action star.
Oh yeah. Do you ever notice when he's going into his apartment, he's walking in. It's sunny I never noticed this till I just watched it again. It's sunny on the one side when they walk in, and he shoots his closet. He's like, there's always a guy in there. But if you look to the right where his door is to the freeway, it's just pouring rain. And they walk in sunny. I'm just like, because it just shows like his normal side, just like he just walks into his apartment, and then where he wants to sleep is just hectic rain and traffic.
Well, no, it's like, is it like because are they playing off that cliche of like he's the haggard detective, so when he's home it's always like rain pouring down, and he's like depressive, like the guy like Arnold at the beginning of End of Days where he puts like pizza and a milkshake and some whiskey in a blender.
Yeah. But the movie, while the movie is super bombastic and in your face, I do like the subtlety of the action, how it shifts, like the opening sequence, him killing people with an ice cream cone, the explosions being like over the top, and then when he's in the real world, the action sequences are very like almost realistic to a certain extent. Well, I do like that contrast that you see in the movie.
They went into the intro especially being like, let's make the most Arnold action we can possibly do. We craze it up, and like,
even though, like I said, I don't think Jack Slater feels like an Arnold character at all. He feels like Arnold parodying Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon.
I think this.
I feel like he didn't. And maybe that's why he did it, because he wasn't sold. I'm gonna make fun of me. I think it was sold. I'm gonna make fun of the genre.
Yeah,
guys. I think what also we realize.
That Shakespeare scene's like right up there.
I also think what we don't realize with Arnold in his career like that is, other people have a different mindset of who they think Arnold Schwarzenegger and his movies are. It's the same thing with Stallone, and then you actually watch them, and they're not as what Last Action Hero is. They're just more straightforward, like action, save the day, blow it up, and that was what they're pigeonholed as. But you watch their actual movies, and they're not. That's not what they are.
Yeah.
So I think it does make sense for a general audience to be like, yeah, it's the action guy, because I don't think general audiences ever think as deep as the four of us talk.
That's because they're stupid.
We're so deep.
What's
your favorite sequence of the movie? To me, as a kid, and I feel like maybe it's the nostalgia, and it still makes me laugh. Is the funeral sequence? Him picking up the dead guy. Like, he's alive, and everybody's just like, what the? And all the family members whipping out guns.
Yeah, but
it always
the gun part is good. But the best part is like, is there a doctor? He's like, I'm a doctor. He's like, somebody help the doctor. Like,
it's so bad. It's so funny. It's so good. Like, and him like landing on the tar pits and it instantly just wiping everything off. It's just like cleaning himself.
Whitney, or you call her Whitney in the movie, or that's what the kid kept calling her. It's like, it's her first role. She shows up. It's like, hey, Dad, I heard you need clothes. He's like, does anyone else like feel like this is just planned? And he's like, what? Just goes with it. But also, like, the cop switches. Where's he from?
The one that betrays him.
Yeah.
Oh, F. Murray Abraham is in.
F. Murray Abraham.
The
Scarface.
thing about him being the guy who killed Mozart is funny. That's a funny joke.
Yeah.
He's Scarface too.
He's one
and if you want to pull from Flyover, he's in Surviving the Game.
Yes.
Since we've seen Surviving the Game, I have referenced that movie oddly enough over the last like 4 years of my fucking life. I don't know why.
It's in there.
But I was gonna say, like, even like, well, so what happens in this movie also, if we can keep going, they're in the movie for a while. They come back to the real world because the villain of the movie realized the movie can get him out of the world, like, after, I think it's the tar scene, but also, like, do you want to keep going with the favorite action sequences, or just move on?
I really like the scene Yusuf was saying, and then, like I said, even that intro, the parody of the movie. Whenever the movies were parodied, that's always my favorite part, almost at any fucking parody.
My favorite part also is the banter when we first have Jack and the villain meet in the doorway, like their banter talking to one another. I really like that sequence, and then him when he overhears that. That's the villain. That's not what's supposed to happen. And him like starting to connect the dots of what the fuck is happening. I don't know why I've always liked the villain more than the rest of the characters. Obviously Jack is amazing and it's Arnold being a parody of Arnold, but
I mean,
I'll tell you what, the best scene in this movie, which gives it like somewhat hard and kind of gives Arnold a little pull, is when you meet his daughter in the movie for the first time, and then he opens up the drawer and sees like the picture of his kid, and he goes on a walk. He's like, "Did anyone have a cigar?" And just goes off to get a cigar, and then he gets the whole we get the Jack Slater 3 ending where the kid gets pulled off.
Yeah, the actual death. That's why I was going to say the Ripper, like actual all the stuff with Tom Noonan. I love him.
Oh yeah,
so,
and then
he's playing off of being the Tooth Fairy and being the villain in RoboCop 2, and I mean he's just doing like his Tom Noonan.
That really awesome thing where it's like, yes, it's a movie for the kid, but also for these people, it's real life. And for him, he's like, well, once he realizes later in the movie that they are just a film. He's like, who's been doing this to me? Like, I'm the saddest drunk. Like, Tom Atkins was in this character. Shout out
Guys, Tom Atkins should have been that character.
Shout out Tom Atkins.
Never been an action star, but you know.
But yeah, and the callback to it in the end being he gets like the redemption arc of actually being able to save the kid from the rooftop against Tom Noonan. It is a good pull.
Okay.
And the makeup, is the makeup so bad it's good, or is the makeup good? What?
It's good.
On who?
On Tom.
On the Ripper?
Oh, yeah. Good.
I think it's good. I think he's got like too many teeth.
His teeth
face.
bother me. His teeth.
Yeah.
Because he has
got, like, too many teeth. He looks
the whole time.
That's what made me think they were really trying to like tap into that Tooth Fairy. Like oh yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of Manhunter fans coming out to see Last Action Hero, but I feel like they were really getting into that.
Get that crossover.
Like the raincoat and like chainmail underneath it, and there he's like the best part also too. Like shout out where they're showing up. They give the real world show to the premiere of the new movie where Jack Slater's obviously showing himself. Arnold's there. Tom Noonan is there playing himself.
Real Tom Noonan comes in after the Ripper. I did like that a lot though. I love Mary Hart's like confused, kind of like, wait, what?
Thinking about killing someone tonight. She's like, Access Hollywood. And then the movie fuck on. He's like, no, he's really gonna kill somebody. That's like, it's like those small little parts of this movie are probably like one of my favorites. Like, I get what it is, but it's like when you mix those worlds up and you have Arnold coming to terms and the Ripper's like, I can do anything. And then the one scene where like he has all those horror movies circled up in the diner, the actual villain with the eye. He's pulling Dracula, and obviously a shout out to Sir Ian McKellen who shows up.
Yeah, I gotta love that. Like that, what a great pull! Like coming in as the Death from Seventh Seal. Like that's
a great
that's
cameo.
very funny.
I'm not here for you, for him. He's like, I'm here for you, Danny. He's like, when do I go? He's like, when you're old. You're like, why are you there? Just get the fuck out, dude. Why just show up at that point?
I was gonna say, like, we can get into the end of the movie because I have to say. So I'm watching the end, right? This movie's been a magical romp. You got the magic ticket. You're in and out of different worlds. Very, very fantastical, right? This movie leaves the kid in the same exact sad-ass position in his life as he was when he left. At least Willy Wonka knew to have the kid flying around a glass elevator at the end. This is like, he's still in the shitty apartment. His mom still has the shitty job.
His life doesn't change
even
whatsoever.
The dude didn't even get his, like, I thought at the very least, through magic, the theater would get renovated or something. You know what I mean? Like, something to improve someone's life using this magic. What did this, like, you have unlimited power to, like, pull from, and nobody is left in a better position at all. They walk off into the sad rain at the end.
You have the dude who's probably going to die in the next 3 years. Movie
3 years, 3 months.
And they kind of like even give off in the one scene where like the kid shows up with Arnold, which everyone should know. Any person in the U.S., obviously in this movie, they kind of ruin this because Arnold is in real world. This guy is the amalgamation of Arnold's movie character on film. The mom should know that the guy at her breakfast table eating pancakes Mozart, like,
people are busy. Like,
they should have got together, and then Danny and her.
He seemed like he wanted to get with the mom. He seemed like he was into.
Oh, like, the mom was.
I thought that was going to happen.
Like, he was like, "Wow, a real human. This is crazy. Like a person."
I thought that was going to happen.
Yeah. We also do that in Kazam, though.
Again, though, Joe, that would have meant leaving someone in a better position than you found them, and this movie can't do that.
Like, imagine if, like, the end of the joke of the movie was just like, oh, man, you kind of look like that action guy. What's his name? Jack Slater?
Because in the real world, we don't always get a happy ending. This is not a movie.
Yeah, but this is a meta...
The movie version gets a happy ending in the real world.
Movie.
They're still in the shitty world.
No. This Jack didn't really get a happy ending. In fact, fucking his reality is broken, honestly. He's probably going to be really fucked up now.
Where that kid lived in New York.
Also, his movie's going to be shit because he keeps looking at the camera.
There's a, not to be weird about
who's he winking at? That kid's not going to be in every showing.
Yeah, well, that's a question. Are there replicants now of like Jack Slater's
in other movie theaters?
In other movies, like
multiverse now.
Yeah, like is this just happening in this one movie, or all Jack Slater
pictures?
Could
you pull Dutch in, and could you pull the Terminator in? You know.
Yeah. But also, should we
one
be
player
more worried about this guy showing up in like Wolf of Wall Street in the background, just like the old movie theater owner just has the tickets. I'm gonna go into anything I can just to survive. Because what's a movie go into?
The movie theater owner would definitely go up on that plane scene for sure. I recently watched that movie. That movie is like horny as fuck. I forgot about how horny that movie is.
Wall Street?
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Horny.
I like this movie. I feel like maybe my nostalgia glosses over a lot of the eras, but I just find it to be fun. Like I don't need it to be the perfect movie or the best movie ever made, but it gets to a point at my old age of 34 in a few days where sometimes you just want to sit down and have fun with a movie, even though it's deeply flawed and overly long. But this movie just hits it for me. Like, it's funny. It has great action sequences. Some heartstrings are pulled. The kid can go
like
fuck
you're
himself.
Heading into the ratings.
He's going down the hill and he's like,
ratings.
Sidekick, and just goes over the moon.
Like the kid really does drag the movie down. Honestly, that's like the worst part of the movie. But let's go into the ratings phase.
It sounded like you were winding up to the ratings phase.
Brian, your first time. Give us a rating.
I do think the movie deserves credit for being creative and having ideas and, all that. But it also had like unlimited monies and the biggest star on the planet, so there's no excuse for it not being a little bit better. I would
Wait, I
this,
want to add. While we were talking, I was looking up real quick. Box office
Bold
wise,
choice
though,
to interrupt Brian.
Jurassic Park just jumped ahead of it to release. So Jurassic Park was out the week prior. I think that has a lot to do with his slumping box office.
Yeah, but like I said, the buzz around this movie was not good at the time. Either.
Okay, you lived it. I was just in a nuts. I was just a newborn baby somewhere.
I was there. I was around.
Brian, Brian had 34 years old, was he?
That's right. I was celebrating my 35th birthday.
Sorry, I was over a year old, so I should be well privy.
Brian, with his first family, he decided to take them to Last Action Hero.
That's right. I took TJ. I carried him in myself. He was a little boy, and we walked in together.
If anyone's being father and son, it's me and you, buddy.
True. Really good. But anyway, my rating, I would give this I'd probably give it like a 5, very middle of the road, just kind of like a straight down the middle. It is fun. It does have some enjoyable moments, but also a lot of the stuff is like, all right, but I don't think I would get a lot out of it the second time. But I can definitely see how you would have nostalgia for it, like, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I grew up with it. Joe, your second time viewing.
I'm always like middle on this movie. I do enjoy it. I think 6.1 Stallone as Terminators. I find it very just middling. It's
yeah. Oh, sorry. It was 5 Charles Dance's Glass Eyes. That's what.
Yeah.
That was mine.
Because I think I'm not as nostalgic as Yusuf, but I have seen it every throughout my life. Every now and then, I've always enjoyed it. So that is there.
Yeah. I have a lot of movies from my childhood that my parents would either buy or rent, and this was one of them. Like, I would pop it in, and my parents would be happy because I didn't know they were locking me in for 2 hours and 10 minutes and didn't have to worry about me. That's probably why they were so happy, even though all the violence was happening. I'll give it, with nostalgia goggles, 7.5. Tight shirt Arnold wearing. So fucking hot in this movie. Tight shirt. And the pants too. And the boots. Woo! And the jacket. Come on.
Snakeskin boots.
Get it.
It's funny as you're watching it, you're saying I pulled up the poster because I'm thinking about thumbnails already. Pretty sweet poster too.
Great poster.
Absolutely.
Great poster.
But they have everything Yusuf's talking about: the tight shirt, the boots, the pants.
Oh yeah, he's like kicking in the air.
One of my favorite parts of T2 is when he pulls out his gun. That bicep rips. That vein drops all the way from here to Kingdom Come. This thing's getting a 7.5 veins because this is right in getting out of T2 phase and just going straight into Jack Slater phase.
That's probably why he's not as bulky in this. He's more he's a little
cut. He's like raw fucking one.
It's weird that he's so cut in this and he never really rips and goes shirtless though.
Never.
He changes shirts. He changes shirts.
The kids.
He does change shirts. Okay.
Doesn't he go shirtless after the tar pit? That's the only time we see him shirtless. Or am I?
You could be right.
He has his shirt on. His sleeves are rolled like all the way up, and does the napkin thing. And then she shows up, goes and clothes. No shirtlessness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
7.5.
Arnold was shirt on the whole movie. Crazy.
All right, this was fun, TJ. Like, honestly, if you could pick movies like this, even if it's a 5 from Brian and a 6 from Joe, we'll be happy for the rest of the 100 episodes going forward. But Brian, you said something about
another one of my picks.
Something about long, maybe.
Okay,
It's still in my head.
So right around the time of my last pick, I watched a newer movie that I really loved and was really great and really fun. And I thought it was going to get really annoying talking about it a lot, and it's getting a little bit of hype, but I actually was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit on it and make it my next pick. I have a bunch of stuff, but I'm like, this guy's going to jump the line. You've probably heard of it. You've probably even seen a trailer or something. I want to do RRR.
I'm happy you're going to do that because I want to watch that. I'm so happy
Okay,
you picked that.
Yusef, have you
I have
actually
no
watched
idea
it
what
already,
this
or just a trailer or something?
It's
What have you
3 hours and fucking 20 minutes.
Okay, man, it's only 3 hours, and it has an intermission, so you can break it up into an hour and a half chunks. An hour and a half, you got a nice intermission, and then another hour and a half.
I'm really
2 nights.
happy.
What's RRR?
Okay.
It's an
Help me out
Indian action movie in Netflix.
It's an Indian action movie. It is on Netflix. Again, there's been some hype, and I'd seen some videos, but I didn't think I was going to be interested in it, to be quite honest. And then, like, I was waiting for Harrison to get ready for bed or something, and the movie started, and I watched, like, the first 10 minutes or so, and I was hooked. And I'm telling you, I'm not doing this to, like, this isn't a trick. I'm not being ironic. I'm not like, this Bollywood movie. I genuinely fucking fell in love with it. It's like,
Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to hit play, but every time I see that fucking runtime,
I know, man. I know, and you're not wrong. And if it didn't have that intermission, like, I watched Dude's other 2 movies that are on Netflix, the Bobbly and Bobbly 2. Good, but, like, that intermission helps. I did it in 2 nights the first time. I'll probably do it in 2 nights this time. It's got a nice stopping point right in the middle. And it's like India sucked in all of our action movies for 30 years and then produced a, like, perfect diamond to, like, give to us.
This is gonna sound, Brian, this is sound really eye-rolly. I knew something was up with this movie. You were talking about it, and Unspooled did it immediately.
Yeah, and
I thought that was neat, interesting.
I was describing it to a friend of mine who was also skeptical, and I told him this. I was like, so you know how, like, the Fast and the Furious movies take themselves very seriously, but they also are really, like, they're really focused on trying to be cool. RRR is that, but, like, just totally earnest. Everything is, like, every emotion is, like, that kind of, like, big and heartfelt, and everything they do is just feels very genuine, whereas they're not preoccupied with also trying to seem badass. They're just doing it. They're just like, this is what
I saw the sequence of the tiger, and I was like, what the fuck is this movie? I want to see it. And then 3 hours I was like, I'm good.
No, you're not wrong.
But now I'm forced.
Intimidating. But like I said, with the breakup, I think it's doable. I don't think it's too much to ask. I think it's way less than when I had you guys watch all the Lord of the Rings movies.
And there's multiple
there's
multiple,
awesome, and this could be who knows. Or
there's multiple
we can argue about it. That's fine too.
He made us watch a movie, and he made us watch documentaries. So this
Brian's an asshole.
All
right, where can the people find you?
I do abuse you guys in a wholly different way.
Brian does ask for the most of us out of a
Who
quadruple.
really asks more, Brian or me? Who asks more?
Brian.
I feel like I'm the nicest of all of us.
Yeah, I feel like probably me.
TJ,
but
give the best smooches. I miss you in New Jersey.
But I asked the most, but I pay. I mean, come on, Lord of the Rings. That was a payoff. 3 out of 4 of us already knew that was going to be a winner.
Well, that was different. That was a whole, like,
I want this to be like that. I'm endorsing. I'm getting behind RRR.
All right, where can the people find you, Brian?
You can find me on Twitter at Hercules. Trying not to be annoying about RRR.
Yo.
You can find me at Chendango1. And on here doing Flyover State of Fear and the Twitter Flyover State of Fear.
TJ.
I'm doing my best and trying to stay positive on Twitter at TJ Dex. Stranger Things finale. Anyway, great series. Check it out.
TJ, you don't need
two mediocre seasons and a finale, and you're saying great series? What the fuck? All right, bye.
No, I genuinely.